So what is so that the education that you're doing to most of the homeowners, and this is something that we talked about yesterday, is we really want to educate the consumer, the homeowner. I know that we're appealing to a lot of contractors and trying to aim the show to contractors, but at the same time, there's going to be a lot of civilians and people that are not in the industry. Civilians, man.
Shit got real, folks.
But what do you, when you go into these homes where people are maybe not mechanically inclined or electrically inclined, what is the conversation? What are these common things that you're either, turning people around on or changing their viewpoint on?
Yeah, so a lot of it, as we were saying earlier, is myth busting. So I brought a few myths.
Yeah, please let's get into it. Yeah,
common things people say to me. So snow and or cold. So everybody says, "Oh, it's pretty snowy here." They don't work in the snow, do they? But they actually do. They produce quite well. There's actually a study done out of NATE, and actually I've been hoping to replicate it in town here at our shop. Just haven't got around to it yet.
I got a big garage here.
Let's get her done. So, anyways, a study at NATE, they took two identical arrays of solar modules. So, solar module, it's a term that is the more technical term for a solar panel. I may use the two interchangeably.
Yeah. Solar module, solar panel, interchangeable. Okay.
Anyways, the array is the assembly of solar modules, solar panels.
Yep.
So what NATE did, they got them all at these different angles of typical roofs, anywhere from 90 degrees down to, I think the lowest was 5 or 10 degrees.
Okay.
And they built two identical slope structures like this, and they added microinverters to the system. So microinverters is a small scale inverter that takes the energy from one solar panel and then transforms it into AC right there. So that allowed them to directly identify how much energy each of these modules is producing at the amount of irradiance or the amount of sunlight that it's getting throughout the year. So what they did with it, one side of the array, they would, anytime it would snow, they'd go up there and sweep it off.
Yeah.
The other side of the array, they didn't do anything to.
Just let it melt.
Just let it melt. And I think the overall energy difference at various angles was on average about 5%.
So
not worth paying somebody to come and sweep.
does that mean
got a
that?
funny story about that.
Okay. No, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
So back in October this year, I finally put solar on my own roof. And I've done dozens and dozens of residential systems. And one thing I'm always telling people, again, on the education side, is you don't need to go on your roof to sweep it. You don't need to go on your roof to sweep it. You don't need to go on your roof to sweep it. It's not worth it. The energy price isn't there. There's no reason to do it. So I finished it the evening before. The very first full day it would have been operational, it snowed. So of course, and like doing this as a living, I got off in my head about I need to see what a day's production's like.
Yeah.
So I went up on the roof and I shoveled it, and it worked great for 39 out of 40 panels. And
Okay.
as I was sweeping off that very last one, down off the roof, bounced to the shed, bounced to the ground.
Oh,
You were the panel.
I did.
Oh,
So that's my crazy dumb story for the podcast.
so moral of the story is don't climb your roof.
Don't climb your roof, and if you do it, harness up.
Yeah.
So
And safety first.
safety first.
Captain Hook over here.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's my silly story of mistakes not to make. Follow your own advice. Right?
Yeah.
It's not one of those do as I say, not as I do things.
Yeah. So in that that study, that experiment, that model, do you think that the negligible difference, the 5% difference between snow being brushed off the panels versus not, do you think that the sun's rays are able to penetrate through snow? Is it translucent? Is it
Absolutely.
refracting
So
it? What's the
depending on the thickness of the snowfall, you will be generating some energy out of it. And one nice thing you can see with the solar modules, if you look at an array in the neighborhood somewhere, as soon as part of that module gets exposed, you're seeing some heat generation, right? You've got that heating effect of the typical dark, whether it's blue or black style cell, taking that heat energy. and then you've got a glass surface. Well, when you have heat and a glass surface, that snow slides off pretty darn quick. So
Yeah.
So you must get asked, what am I going to save on my electric bill every month?
yeah, so that totally depends on what your usage is. That's the other thing that I need to educate people on. Like, well, everybody says, what's the average? What's the average? Well, I can tell you right now, the average Alberta energy use for the average family home, which nobody has, by the way.
That's so funny. I get these reports all the time from the the utility provider, and it's like your home, similar homes in your area, and then the average energy efficient home, and I'm just like, man, I am doing a terrible job of turning off lights in my house. I thought I put LEDs and everything, but it's just like there's me, and then like everybody else is like there for like efficient energy consumption.